Success. In Mexico, we love this word, and we love to share it with you. Take a closer look at Mexico. Take a closer look and invest for success. Mexico aims to become the best destination for foreign investment. Investment to make your business grow. We are an attractive market. Mexico is one of the most important economies. We have trade agreements with 46 countries thanks to our privileged access. We make importing and exporting easy with our open ports on the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans and the Gulf of Mexico. Access for growth is available 24/7 to everyone all over the world. Either by air, land, or sea, Mexico welcomes you with 64 international airports, 63 border crossings, 68 high seaports and cabotage, 27,000 railroad tracks, and 372,000 kilometers of roadways. We are connected everywhere, all the time. We are young, with 118 million consumers and an average population of 26 years old. Mexico is a young country. By 2035, the working population will increase by 26.4%. Let's get things done. We are the leading export country in Latin America, with 67% of advanced manufacturing. 6 out of 10 developers with PSP certification around the world are Mexicans. Mexico is first place in patents granted, world's leading exporter of flat-screen TVs, world's leading exporter of 2-door refrigerators, world's leading producer of organic coffee, world's leading exporter of papaya and avocado, world's largest silver producer, largest exporter of medical devices in Latin America, 3rd largest exporter of IT services, 4th largest exporter of auto parts globally, 4th best location for software development, 5th largest exporter of computers, 10th largest exporter of cell phones, 6th largest exporter of global aerospace export to the USA, 7th largest producer of cars, and 4th largest exporter of cars. Investing in Mexico means walking towards innovation, a path towards a successful business experience, a window to new ways of connecting with the world, today and tomorrow. We are a collaborative community, hardworking and skilled people. We are a friendly country to all nations. The opportunities are endless. Invest in ideas. Invest in possibilities. Invest in success. Invest in Mexico.
Well, thank you very much for this introduction, and welcome to all the delegates from Invest of Mexico that are joining us this morning. And we are we appreciate a lot your participation. I understand this is the first time that you are giving a presentation of this initiative outside of Mexico, and we welcome all of you. I'm going to mention the names of all the states that are represented today, and probably they are here in the screen, or probably they are going join us later, or they are part of the group. We have Manuel Gonzalez, Secretary of Economic Development of the state of Aguascalientes, Antonio Fernandez, Secretary of Economic Development of the state of Chihuahua, Jaime Guerra, Secretary of Economic Development of the state of Coahuila, Walter Olderbrun, Secretary of Economic Development of the state of Colima, Gustavo Kienzel, Secretary of Economic Development of the state of Durango, Mauricio Usabiaga, Secretary of Economic Development of the state of Guanajuato, Ernesto Sánchez, Secretary of Economic Development of the state of Jalisco, Jesús Well, we have Ricardo Bernal, Secretary of Economic Development of the State of Michoacán, Roberto Rusildi, Secretary of Economic Development for the State of Nuevo León, and Carlos Garcia, Secretary of Economic Development of the State of Tamaulipas. And also with us is the team that is joining the secretaries. I want to thank the presence here of Eduardo Infante, Fabián Santana, Sofía Delgadillo, Héctor Munguía, Daniel Montenegro, Alejandro Nander, Sergio Ríos, Ricardo Bernal, Anabel Flores, and Astrid Salazar. And thank you all. And with that, today we are going to have a presentation about Invest Mexico. Mexico is a very, very important market for Canada, for Alberta in particular, and for the western of Canada as well. So we have had a very, very strong relation for many years. Mexico is very, very significant for the companies that are already doing business in Mexico in different industries, the energy sector, of course, the mining sector, agriculture, and new technologies that are areas of opportunity that we have identified so far. And with that, I don't want to spend a lot of time because we are going to have a great presentation about all the opportunities in Mexico in these 10 states that I mentioned already. And I would like to ask Mr. Ernesto Sanchez, that is the president of the Invest in Mexico Association Board, just to provide some remarks for our group today. And
thank you very much, Miguel. Thanks a lot, and thanks to everyone for joining this presentation. So just some a little bit about the scope of what we're doing here and why did we form this association. The origins of the Invest in Mexico Facilitation Board, which, by the way, is an entity oriented to economic activity, not politics. But the origins are related to an alliance that the governors of 10 states with similar mindset regarding economic policy and social policy formed. So this alliance is called the Federalist Alliance. And these 10 states joined together initially to find ways to better manage the pandemic because they thought that there could be better ways to do it in the states as compared to some of the initiatives from the federal government. So in these meetings from the Federalist Alliance, the idea came from the group of economic development ministers that usually join the governors in these meetings. The idea came out to form some association or initially an effort to keep Mexico an attractive place for foreign direct investment. So the governors tasked us with this mission of doing something to keep Mexico attractive as a foreign direct investment destination, because as you guys may know, the previous entity that was in charge for that, called ProMexico, was extinct by the current federal government. So there's no longer a ProMexico. So we started to see some decline in the attractiveness of the country to the eyes of other countries, to the eyes of the foreign direct investors. We had some meetings in the case of Jalisco. We had some meetings with ambassadors from countries in Europe, like Italy and other countries in the world, that told us that they were seeing a true fading of Mexico there. So they didn't see our position as strong as it was before. So we got concerned in Jalisco. And then when this idea came out in the Federalist Alliance, we took it. But now, what we did is we joined together. We form a legal entity, a civil association, we call that in Mexico, which is a non-for-profit organization, legal entity already incorporated with the 10 ministers of economic development, with the objective of, first of all, keep attracting foreign direct investment to Mexico, not only to these states. We're working for all the country. And I want to emphasize that this is not members-only club. If there is an investment that is more suitable for other region that is not within these 10 federalist states, then it will go there. And also as a second objective is to promote exports. So these are the two objectives that we are starting with. The first one with the attraction of foreign direct investment. I will incorporate the second one. As I mentioned initially, this is not a political organization. This is an economy-oriented association. And because of that, we're in the process of incorporating private companies, organizations, chambers, and organizations of the private industry to make a more balanced governing body of this entity, and also to try to separate that from the political changes that may occur in our states. So we want to have continuity. We want to be present here for many, many years. And that's why we developed a business plan, if you want to call it, because we're non-for-profit. We developed an execution plan that will give us sustainability in the long term and incorporate as part of the strategy entities at the national level that integrate the private industry or the private sector. That's what we are, the Invest in Mexico Facilitation Board. And Miguel, sorry to correct you, but we have had meetings with other foreign countries already from the USA, from the South American countries. So, but we are really, really interested in our main commercial partner, which are Canada and the USA. So we are starting in a very strong way. We incorporated this in December, and we're putting a lot of effort here because we really believe that this is something that the country needs, and we're making a lot of effort here. We have very bright minds here, a lot of talent already here, as you may encounter with your dialogue with Sergio Rios and his partners in the design of this and the execution of this. And we are still incorporating, as I mentioned, other actors, and now mainly for the private industry. So that's it. That's what we are. And we're very excited to have this conversation with Canada, which is the first formal conversation that we're having with the Canadian entity, and very interested in exploring ways to keep attracting investment from you guys, and also see how can we develop a win-win relationship with you. Thank you very much for your attention, and let's continue with the agenda. Thanks a lot, Mauricio, guys.
Excellent, Ernesto. Thank you very much for the presentation. And yes, you can count on the Canadian Council for the Americas basically to continue the relation and the promotion, and just to share all the work that you are doing, because Mexico is a very important market for Canada, of course. And with that, I would like to ask, I think Sergio, well, I would like to remind everybody that we want to have this as a very interactive conversation. I have with me two of my board of directors, Benigno Rojas Moreno and Karen Fosado, that are going to help us to coordinate the moderation session later. And you can use the Q&A as well, because we want to hear your questions, and all the team of Mexico, they are very, very eager to participate and to answer hopefully all the questions that you present today. So, and with that, Sergio, I think you are going to coordinate the presentation.
Yes, I have the presentation, and I just want to mention what ministers are here present. Mauricio Usobiaga from Guanajuato, Carlos Garcia from Tamaulipas, Ernesto Sanchez from Jalisco, Gustavo Kitzel from Durango, and I missed one more, Walter Oldenburg from Colima. Those are the ministers, and also are here with us the deputy ministers of the different states. Then we will start the presentation right now. Then let me share my screen, that I believe you are seeing right now, the presentation that we have prepared for you. Then everybody of the representative from the states will present their state. I think the Minister Sanchez Proal, he already mentioned what is the background of the Invest in Mexico Facilitation Board, and I won't go deeply on that. And here are some of the objectives that we have in this investment agency that basically is positioned in Mexico, promote the free trade agreements, And something very important is to create the new global value chains and attract new investment. And we believe that Alberta could be a key partner for all the different industrial sectors that we have here in the States. We have created 5 working groups. One is related with investment, with all my colleagues that are here present. We have another one related with logistics, one more in energy that I believe that is going to be of a lot of interest from Albertan companies, one more for supply chain, and one more for internal market. That will be the working groups that we are trying to develop through this agency that we have so far. Just a snapshot of who we are. We are the 10 most, let's say, business-oriented states. We have a population more or less of almost 40 million inhabitants. We have half of them, they are basically the economic active population. We have a very important GDP. We receive around 40% of the total foreign investment, and also we export around 40% of the total export that Mexico do. Then if you see, you are talking about maybe with the 40-45% of the most important states that you can find in Mexico, and they are a very good partner for do business with you in Alberta. I would like to finish this introduction with what are the main, let's say, industrial sectors that you can find business opportunities with the states of the agency. We have aerospace, we have agribusiness, we have automotive industry, medical devices, electronics, energy, forestry, logistics, metal mechanic, fashion, chemical, and information technology. Then you see we are very diversified, and we would like to start with the introduction of Aguascalientes, and I will ask my friend Eduardo Infante, Deputy Minister from Aguascalientes, to present his state.
Thank you very much, Sergio, and thank you for the opportunity for being here. On behalf of our Minister of Economic Development, Manuel Alejandro Gonzalez, this who is speaking to you, Eduardo Infante, is going to provide you some information on Aguascalientes. We happen to be one of the smallest states in Aguascalientes, yet one of the most productive. Not only are we attractive because of our productivity in terms of economic growth, but also because of the level of investment that we have been able to get from different parts of the world throughout the past decades. Aguascalientes has a population of roughly 1.4 million inhabitants. That would be about 1% of the total population of the Mexican country. Our GDP per capita has been steadily growing for the past decade at the top levels in the country, and we are renowned because of our manufacturing activities. The economy of Aguascalientes is home of one of the most thriving industries in the country, which is the automotive industry. And this, along with very good quality of life and an excellent level of labor, has enabled Aguascalientes to remain attractive for foreign direct investment, specifically in the automotive and the manufacturing sectors. Can we go to the next slide, please, Sergio? Our annual growth ranks among the highest in the country. We're number 7 in the textile industry. Not only are we strong in the manufacturing activities, we're also strong in the services activities and the transportation and logistics industries. Aguascalientes also has been presenting steady rates of growth in terms of exports. And obviously, we are committed to partnering more with Canada because, as it is the case with the rest of the country, most of our commerce or trade activities take place in between the United States and Mexico. But our other partner, which is very important, Canada, is one of the partners that we haven't really committed a lot to. And we want to engage the relationships between the companies between Canada and Mexico, specifically in this region, so that trade can boost between our economies. Next slide, please. And as I was mentioning before, we have been recipient of one of the highest amounts of foreign direct investment in the past decade. Aguascalientes nowadays receives a lot of investment from Japan and the United States. They both account for more than 75% of the foreign direct investment into Aguascalientes. The reason why this is so is because we have the OEM, we have a couple OEMs here. Both of them are or belong to Nissan. So this could be considered as the Nissan hub for Mexico, but also the automotive industry that is very strong in the region makes it very appealing for American capitals to come here. In the recent years, we also have had investment from Germany that is now steadily growing. We are the only state, or we are the only city in Latin America that produces Mercedes-Benz cars in one of the OEM plants that we have in the state. And the other strategic sectors that we have are the IT and software, the aerospace, the agribusinesses, the health, logistics, research, development and innovation, and the electronic and manufacturing components industry. All in all, this is a small, competitive and thriving state that opens the doors to you in case that you get to know, that you're interested in getting to know more about the state of Aguascalientes, which literally means hot waters. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eduardo. And now we will continue with Chihuahua. Then we are ready, Fabian Santana. I think you are going to be the one that we are going to talk about Chihuahua.
Yes, Sergio. Thanks, everybody, for giving us the opportunity. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'll go very quick, although Chihuahua is a very large state, not only in terms of territory. I'd say the most important sector for Chihuahua right now is manufacturing. As a matter of fact, the very first manufacturing plant in the country was established in Chihuahua and Ciudad Juarez on 1965. And since then, Chihuahua has grown to become the #1 employer for the EMEX industry. Right now, we have roughly 400,000 people working for international companies doing specifically manufacturing, although we also have a very strong agricultural, mining, and service sectors. We are also one of the main players in logistics. On 2019, we achieved the record on shipments for international manufacturing products to the US. Although the ports in Ciudad Juarez, we have 5 commercial ports, have a combined capacity of roughly $65 billion a year. And that puts us on the main logistics corridor. We happen to be right in the middle of the border. You can ship from Chihuahua on an equally speedy manner to the East Coast, the West Coast, and the Detroit automotive corridor, and that has allowed us to become a very important player on a lot of sectors, on which logistics constitute a large component of the competitiveness. These include automotive, home appliances, but as some very specialized sectors such as the blades for wind turbines as well. They are mostly made. We are the main player on several sectors. We are the #1 exporter of medical devices right now. We overpassed Baja California last year with some interesting investments. But we as well have the first place on exports for machinery, for integrated circuit boards, and for instruments of different kinds. These are all numbers from the Ministry of Economy on a federal level. And these, they all spread around the different parts of the state. Right now, we are exporting just on medical devices around $5 billion a year. Becoming one of the largest exporters, not only of Mexico, but the world itself. And regarding investment, We are obviously very heavily based towards the United States, but we have a very strong presence from Canadian companies. There's obviously a lot of large mining companies such as Agnico Eagle and Endeavor Silver and several of the large mining companies. But we also have a large presence on the aerospace and automotive industry. For aerospace, we have companies such as Arm Prior, Bell Helicopter that have manufacturing for aerospace here in the state. And just last year, we were very proud to be the recipient of the very first investment announced in the country under the new US-Mexico-Canada agreement. It was the Canadian company BRP that makes ATVs and recreational vehicles. They announced an investment of $180 million for the establishment of their new manufacturing campus in Ciudad Juarez. And this announcement was made just the very next day to the signing of the agreement. So Chihuahua has been one of the very first players to strengthen the relationship. This new facility will hire about 1,300 people in Ciudad Juarez. And it came after years of successful operations of the company, which started very small in the country and now has grown to be to have the largest footprint in Ciudad Juarez in the world. There are, of course, other sectors. We are very, very strong in medical devices and electronics, and we have interesting investments as well from the United Kingdom, from Japan, from the Netherlands, Spain, France, across these advanced manufacturing sectors. I generally think that could be the main aspects for Chihuahua, although as I mentioned, we have as well some other sectors that are not as large but are very important nationwide, such as wine production, agricultural products, logistics, and IT services.
Fabian, time. I remind everybody to try to be as precise with the time, because now we know a lot about Chihuahua and we would like to know about the other 80 states. Then thank you, Fabian.
Thank you. Thanks,
now,
everybody.
now Coahuila. Who we have from Coahuila that is going to talk about Coahuila? Because I don't know what happened with Coahuila today.
Let's go to the next one, Sergio.
Okay, go for the next one. I will go with Colima. Then we have here the Minister Walter Oldenburg to talk about Colima. Go, Walter.
Thank you, Sergio, and hi to everybody up in Canada. Well, Colima is one of the third most smaller states in this country of Mexico, but it also is the third most important port in Latin America, or you can say the most important port in the Pacific coast in Latin America. Also in Colima, we provide most of the energy for the center of Mexico with electric production and thermal plant for 2.7 megawatts, and also has already Manzanillo is becoming, besides general cargo in containers, is going to be a energy logistic port. Right now, we have a connection to the pipeline Texas Natural Gas, and the part of the investment there is already procured from Manzanillo to Guadalajara. It's done from TransCanada, which this company has the rights for the pipeline between Guadalajara and Manzanillo. We're also at the first place production in Mexico for iron pellets. And we have already coming a new project for the expansion of the port. The actual port right now is around 450 hectares, and the new port will be 1,600 hectares. And so besides, next to the port, we already have a land reserve for industrial use, industrial park, for more than 2,000 hectares. And they are already done the ability to be used as industrial to it. Can we go to the next one, Sergio, please? What are the investments opportunity for Canada here in Mexico? Definitely mining. We have right now a company from Canada based in Alberta, doing a new exploration for ore mining here in the area, and they are very advanced on it. They already have the land, and pretty soon they're going to start right now they're doing the permits to extract the minerals with it. Definitely housing, logistic, and transportation is the main key for the investments, and it's growing fast on that issue. As you guys know, Manzanillo is the entrance for the most Asian ports to Mexico or Latin America. Besides being the most important port right now in the Pacific, right now Manzanillo is most of the, it's becoming a hub logistic also. And tourism also, it has very well attract tourism out of Canada. Energy, the construction of the pipeline definitely is becoming an attraction for the new, we're gonna have right now in progress, we have 2 facilities for hydroelectric, hydrocarbon facilities on the port, and another one for fertilizers, and another one to produce liquid gas again and export to Asia from. And also services is becoming a good investment project. Technology development, and like software development, service providers, information technology. Colima has a good population and well-oriented and formed young students from the universities here in Colima. Can we go to the next one, please?
30 seconds.
Okay, the key indicators in Colima, again, according to INCO, states will be the least government corruption. And according to Coparmex, is the second state with least corruption. And in also in CONAMER, we're the first most agile and simplification government regulations. So in Colima, we are open to anyone who wants to come and invest, and everything will be nice and swift. So I hope I didn't take too many time from the rest of the friends here.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you. Okay. Now we will follow with Durango. Then I think Gerardo Holguín is the one who is going to make the presentation for Durango. Okay, you have 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, thank you so much. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation, for the space. I'm so happy and glad to be here. Well, what I would like to say about Durango State is that you might know this is the 4th largest state in Mexico. Approximately the size of the state is the same as the Mississippi states in the United States. We are located in the northwest part of the country. Because of that, this position offers businesses access to the best Mexico has to offer as a manufacturing for export destination of choice. Represents an opportunity for the automotive sector as well as metal mechanic now with new conditions of the USMCA treaty. We can talk about well, we would like to point it out some strategic sectors that we have in the States on those who are quite strong on it. For example, in the textile sector, where one of the biggest industries in the state is this one, and the larger jeans producer in Latin America. Talking about renewable energies, Durango is within the top 5 in the national ranking of average solar radiation. Talking about agri-industry, we have the 4th national place in livestock production. In Laguna region is the largest dairy producer in Mexico, and one of the biggest companies in Latin America is established right there, which is Lala. Talking about the forestry sector, we have the first forest reserve in Mexico with more than 9 million of surface. Talking about mining sector, Durango has the 4th place nationwide ranking in the production of metals and minerals, the 3rd national producer of silver, lead, zinc, and the 4th talking about iron, and the 5th talking about gold. As you might know, Canada is a country with the main FID in the state, covering the 38% of the FID that we attract to the state. Actually, the past year we received $437 million as a foreign direct investment. Can we move to the next slide, please? Thank you. Talking about export, we have our main exports, as you can see right there. We are the 3rd place, as I was saying in the past slide, in the Golden Road or in semi-manufactured powder form. I'm sorry, there is a voice at the back, Sergio. No?
No, it's okay.
Can I go through? Okay. So we have the 3rd place in the Golden Road, as I was saying. We have the 10th place about wire and electronic cables. Our exports are about 269 million, and we have the 2nd place about live animals of the bovine species, about with the export for 105 million. And at the bottom you can see our main destination. Our main destinations are the United States, Switzerland, and Honduras. Talking about economic indicators, because I think it's quite important for the people or companies who are trying to make an investment in a country, or particularly in a state, to know about competitiveness. We have the Durango is the 2nd most competitive city in Mexico, with a population of 4,100 to 1 million inhabitants, according to IMCO. Also, we can say Durango ranked within the 5 states with the greatest economic recovery from the COVID-19 outbreak nationwide during the last quarter of 2020. That's also our source is IMCO. And finally, we can say Durango is the 5th city with the highest perception of security in Mexico. This is one of the most important things that we can say talking about economic indicators. I think there's another slide. Finally, we would like to share with you that we have created 6 different clusters. Represents a model of integrated supply chain that generates additional value in the manufacturing industry, in the medical, in the IT, and also in terms. I would like to say finally that the purpose of these clusters is to promote regional development under the triple helix model, which is where you work together, when we work together with the government, industry, and the academy. I think that's 4 minutes and a half, Sergio. Thank you so much.
Yes, I know. Okay, well, let's try to go with Durango. Mauricio, welcome again, and talk about Guanajuato, please.
Well, thank you, Sergio. Good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure to be with you. Before asking Alejandro, my fellow worker, to explain all the details of the state, I want to share with you my biggest concern. And my biggest concern is North America. Right now, we produce less than 20% of the manufacturing in the world. So we're losing the leadership. Asia is producing 52% worldwide, and Europe is ahead of North America. They are producing 22% of all the manufacturing in the world. We have a huge potential within Mexico. And also, I was very concerned to see how low was the investment of the Canadian investors in Mexico, not only in GTO. So we have a long work ahead of us, and I think we can do a lot for the good of the Canadians and the Mexican people. Now, I want to ask Alejandro to explain all the details of the state of Guanajuato.
Well, thank you so much, Secretary Sabiaga. Thank you so much to all our colleagues from the other states in Mexico for their kind introduction of their correspondent states. And thank you so much for the Canadian Council of the America for this great opportunity to talk about what all these different Mexican regions have to offer. We have the privilege to represent the state of Guanajuato, the sixth most populated state in Mexico, with approximately 6.1 million inhabitants. It represents close to 5% of total Mexican population. Our GDP is 50 billion US dollars, representing also a little bit less than 5% of total Mexican economy. And I would like to express that the state of Guanajuato has experienced a growth of its economy that actually has doubled that of the Mexican economy over the course of the last few years. Our GDP is close to $8,177, which compared to the national GDP is a little bit below. But with all the investment coming to the state and with all the economy moving in this booming part of Mexico, we are going to definitely be above national average in the upcoming years. So part of what the Secretary Sabiaga was mentioning is the urgent need for U.S., Mexico, and Canada, and I want to stress Canada, to also become a very important block of countries within North America that can compete with Europe, with Asia, because we really need to start looking at each other as true partners in order to overcome the challenges that the world scenario is imposing on us after COVID-19. And we have a great advantage having the US and Canada as our great neighbors. And I would like to talk about Guanajuato's exports. If we take into consideration only the states that are not bordered with the US, Guanajuato is the state that has the highest exports to the United States and Canada, with 24 billion US dollars. And these are some of the industrial sectors in which we are strong. Leather and shoe industry, automotive industry. We proudly host the most dynamic automotive cluster in central Mexico, along with our neighbors, with Jalisco, with Querétaro, San Luis Potosí, and Aguascalientes. And Guanajuato City was very famous for the production of silver. And there has been a significant Canadian investment in the mining sector in the city of Guanajuato. We're also important in agribusiness. Actually, I would like to say that close to 95% of the broccoli and a considerable part of the tomatoes and bell peppers that are consumed in the Canadian market come from Guanajuato. And we're very proud of that. And talking about the industrial sector, we have landed close to 10 different Canadian projects. I would like to mention just a few of them. Melhut, Martin Ria, Magna, Rocand, Axiom Group, and Multimatic in the area of San Jose Iturbide. But I think that we have, there is a big area of opportunity to really bring more foreign direct investment from Canada because of USMCA, because of our strategic location within North America, and because of all the synergies that can be achieved with Canada and with the United States. And one of the other things that I wanted to mention is that we also have a strong bond with Canada in terms of education. A lot of students are being sent to Vancouver, to Montreal, to Toronto, to all the Windsor area in order to learn best manufacturing practices. As a matter of fact, we have a strong collaboration scheme with St. Clair College from Windsor, Ontario. And the people from Martin Rea which is located here in the inland port in Silao, have been sending some of their associates to be trained there. We recognize the great value of the Canadian companies in the aerospace sector, but also in the automotive sector. Let's keep in mind that that for a good number of years, Canada produced a lot of the plastic injection molds for the big three automotive makers in Detroit, for General Motors, for Chrysler, and for Ford. And they developed an expertise which is unique in the world. So we want to learn more about our Canadian partners. And we know that they have a lot to offer in terms of plastic injection, die design, and die making as well. And within the automotive industry, there is a huge opportunity that is yet to be explored with Canada. So as you can see, we landed close to $385 million from Canada, but we think that with the new rules imposed by USMCA, there is a whole niche of opportunity that we can further explore with your country. Next, please.
Next, please, is Jalisco.
Okay.
Then, thank you very much, Guanajuato. And then the next state is Jalisco. Then
Sergio, can we go to the next one, because I'm getting a call from the governor, so sorry about that.
Okay, then we go to the next one. Okay, then we skip Jalisco, and then let me see who is next one. It's Michoacán. Then Jose Carrillo, you are here from Michoacán. Jose, you have your microphone mute.
I'm sorry. Good morning, everyone. Please receive greetings from Ricardo Bernal. Is new one just named Ministry of Economic Development. I'm General Director of Investment Attraction. Well, we start. Michoacán, one of the Mexico 32 states, is rich and diverse and houses the biggest seaport of the Mexican Pacific. Michoacán ranks 9th in population with 4.7 million people. This represents 4% of the 126 million national total. GDP reached in 2019 $29.6 billion, which represents 2.4% share of the national total. The manufacturing GDP in 2019 was $2.6 billion, which represents 1.2% of the national total. And the manufacturing exports in 2020 were worth $2 trillion, representing 0.6% of the national total. Foreign direct investment in 2020 was 0.29 trillion, representing 1% of the national total. Next slide, please.
This one.
Michoacán remains in the first national place in agricultural exports. You know about avocado, lemon, and some other products, with 1.5% of the national total, additional of being the first national place in agriculture with $3,697 million, portraying 32% of the national total. It also stands out for the 4th national place in metallic and non-metallic minerals, with a value of $927.8 million, which represents 11.2% of the national total. While in the food industry, the state is placed nationally in 6th place with $616.5 million production and a national participation of 5.5%. These three economic sectors were the ones with the highest value in Michoacán GDP for 2019. Within secondary activities, Michoacán places in national GDP top 15 in several sectors, such as textile industry, that does not include clothing, chemical industry, plastics, and rubber industry, as well as paper industry. Next, please. With more than 230 foreign companies established in 20 industrial parks, foreign direct investment in Michoacán places in 24th national place with 1% of the total registered in Mexico. The countries with the highest local participation are United States, Spain, Great Britain, and the Netherlands. The amount of the United States is close to 50% of our participation in that matter. The strategic sectors of Michoacán are iron and steel industry, beside the port, automotive, information and communication technologies, renewable energy, and we have a lot of territory to do the business. Chemical industry, plastics, aerospace, pharmaceutical and cosmetics, home appliance, and food industry. With all things that we have just talked, we're sure that their strategic location, our raw materials and workforce, the industrial zones, and the port of Lázaro Cárdenas, as well as the quality of life that we can provide, will arouse your interest. In Michoacán, we are doing things well, and we are sure that in us, you will have a strategic ally. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. You respect the time, then congratulations for Michoacán. Then we will go back to Jalisco. Let me see. Where is Jalisco? It's here. Okay.
Gracias. Thank you, Sergio. So I like to emphasize before starting that the fact that we're presenting each state individually is to provide more granularity, but what we want to do here is to promote the whole country, Mexico. But we are telling the story of each state so you can understand some specialization that we have internally, because of course you cannot break the supply and logistics chains by political borders. Anyway, in the case of Jalisco, as you can see, we're about 7% of the population of the country, about also 7% of the economy, growing at a good rate. So our main source of economic growth in the last years has been manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, and specifically the export sector. We are let's go to the next one, Sergio. So we in terms of foreign direct investment from 2019 to 2020, we grew 38.4%. That's about 2,150 million US dollars of foreign direct investment that we attracted. The data is not in the slide. I'm just sharing this. No, go to the previous one, Sergio, please. So, and the main components of these new investments are, as I mentioned, advanced manufacturing. So about 7% of the economy, becoming about 8% with this growth, 8 million people. So in the areas of where we do have expertise, I will not talk about which place are we. I don't see this as a competition among states. I like to share this because we have some expertise in some areas, some specialization. So the area that is mentioned there initially is plastics. We are specialized in plastics, but I would like to talk more about other industries, which is the electronics industry, the advanced manufacturing industry, as I mentioned, that we have gained a significant expertise. And now, don't go to the next one, Sergio, please. Wait until I tell you. Thank you very much. So we have gained significant expertise in the manufacturing of computers, electronics equipment, telecommunications. And also, we'll see that in the next slide, don't go there yet, but also in the energy sector. In this slide, you may also find interesting that we're also a significant player in the manufacturing of petroleum-derived oils, which may be interesting for Alberta, and also in the food industry, we're a good player, providing about 12% of the food that the country consumes. Beverage and tobacco industry also a significant expertise. So I like you guys to see these as areas where we have been developing a lot of talent and may be useful for you to place some operations here in Jalisco. Now, okay, let's go now to the next one, Sergio, please. Okay, so these sectors have been selected by the government as sectors where we want to focus on by the government of Jalisco. And again, you cannot play alone here. As Guanajuato mentioned, we need our neighbor states, and we need other countries to participate in the supply chains. In terms of medical devices, we have been leveraging on the expertise that we have in advanced manufacturing, specifically in electronics, to enter into this sector. We have now full plants dedicated to manufacturing medical devices, sophisticated devices with the certification, in the case of the USA, of the FDA, certification of the Mexican authorities as well. Also, in terms of aerospace, that same expertise that we developed over the last 45 years in electronics is now being very useful for the manufacturing of electronic components for airplanes. All that is high technology, as I already mentioned. We're one of the main, in Jalisco, we have one of the biggest concentration of electronics manufacturing companies in the world, with a very big industry. The main players of manufacturing, the main contract manufacturers are located here, such as Sanmina, SCI, Jabil, Flextronics, Foxconn, of course. All these guys have operations here, very big operations. That also has attracted the automotive sector, again, mainly in electronics, but also in other components. And I like to mention here that the automotive electronics are not only doing manufacturing, they're also doing R&D. We have one of the biggest R&D centers for Intel here. They are developing semiconductors. Automotive companies such as Hella, Bosch, Continental have R&D centers here developing sensors and actuators for cars, autonomous cars and electric cars. And that brings me to the energy sector. This administration has placed a lot of emphasis in energy. Since the first year of the administration, we developed a state energy strategy documented in the state energy plan. We moved the energy agency, which already existed, was in the innovation ministry. We moved it to the economic development ministry. So I have the sectorized to this ministry, the energy agency, and we're executing this energy plan, which has the objective of having enough energy at competitive prices, respecting the agreements of COP21. And electric mobility is a sector that we are focusing in. We are developing the supply chain of the electric car. We're not focusing on combustion engine cars. We're moving to the next generation of cars. Again, working as a team with neighbor states and other countries. So this is what we have in Jalisco, and if you have any questions, we'll be very glad to answer. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. And then we will follow with Nuevo León. I see the Deputy Minister here, Lorenzo Aguilar. Lorenzo, thank you to be here with us. And we start with Nuevo León. Lorenzo, go ahead.
Thank you, Sergio. And I will start first by emphasizing what just was said. We are more valuable as a whole than individual. We are here all representing Mexico, not individually ourselves. And I believe that collaboration among states has been very valuable. in the past and will be more valuable in the future. And just to talk a little bit about Nuevo León. Nuevo León, as most of you probably know, is located in the northeast part of Mexico, borders with the United States, with the state of Texas, and very well connected to all of the ports on the Pacific and as well as on the Gulf of Mexico, which has in recent years been called the industrial capital of Mexico. And as well, to tell you a little bit about this and why this is it, I believe and we believe that our main asset is our people. Productivity of people. And you can see it here in the first slide. With only 4% of the population in the country, Nuevo León is delivering typically between 7 and 9% of the GDP. 2019, it was 8% of the GDP nationwide. So that talks a little bit about the productivity of the labor force currently in Nuevo León. If we go to the manufacturing side, it represents 11% of the GDP. So basically that's why it's called the industrial capital of Mexico. As well, foreign direct investment for the past more than 10 years has been the state leader in foreign direct investment. Recently, last year, 12% represents 12% of investments made into our country. And even though foreign direct investment decreased in 2020, in Nuevo León, it increased by 8%. And basically, Nuevo León has been a destination for what has been happening in these past months with the supply chains that were broken away with the COVID effect worldwide. And Nuevo León has been a destination for the nearshoring activity. Recent companies like Stanley Black & Decker has relocated to our state and is relocating many of their suppliers worldwide to our state of Nuevo León. If we can go to the next slide, Sergio. As you can see, Nuevo León leader in manufacturing exports, accounting for 12% of the total nationwide. And here are some of the main products or exports, basically in the home appliances sector, in the automotive and transportation equipment sectors, even though Nuevo León only has a few assembly plants, transportation assembly plants, it's a main key player in the automotive accessory and tier 1 and tier 2 investments in our area. We have a very robust supply chain in basically in those two areas. If we can go to the next slide, please, Sergio. And here, strategic sectors. For each of the strategic sectors in our state, we have developed a cluster. And all of the clusters work together hand in hand in collaboration to make it more competitive, to give advantages to companies that decide to come to Nuevo León. So collaboration is the name of the game in Nuevo León. When they ask me one of the key assets, I say, as I told you, our people is our main asset, but the next main asset is collaboration among all the players, among all competitors. So these are our main sectors: automotive, home appliances, IT sector, aerospace, as well as energy, and recently creation, the tooling cluster, which is a spin-off of the automotive cluster. And as I told you, leader in foreign direct investment, and here are the countries that represent investment in 2020. This is changing and changing quite rapidly, even though we don't see here countries like China. They will be key players in the near future, since, as I told you, they are relocating or nearshoring some of their operations to the new USMCA region. And when they choose Mexico, well, we have been chosen by many of them recently. And well, basically that's
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lorenzo. You were very on time. And how they say it, last but not least is Carlos Garcia, the Minister of Economic Development from Tamaulipas. Then, Carlos, go ahead.
Thank you. We saved the best for last. No, I'm just kidding. All 9 states that came before me are very progressive and did a great job in their presentations. First of all, I would like to thank the Canadian Council for the Americas for the opportunity to present Mexico, and in my case, Tamaulipas, to our friends and colleagues in Canada. Special acknowledgement to Miguel Cortines. Thank you, Miguel, for this opportunity. He's our President and Executive Director of CCA Alberta. Also, thank you to Benigno and Karen Fosado, both members also of CCA Alberta, as well as all the Canadian companies that have joined us today to see these presentations. My first slide has to do with the economic overview for Tamaulipas. As my fellow colleagues have stated throughout the presentation, Mexico is great because of our people and our industry, and that applies as well for the great state of Tamaulipas. On this slide, you'll find some of Tamaulipas' highlights regarding economic and social indicators. On that regard, Tamaulipas has over 3.7 million people. And the good news is that over 66% are over 40 years old. So we have a young workforce. Another aspect I would like to highlight is the fact that regarding to GDP, we are currently ranked number 12 in Mexico. And we are also one of the states with the most economic complexity, meaning that Tamaulipas has a highly diversified economy. We are also a highly competitive state regarding exports, foreign trade, and the attraction of foreign direct investment, as we'll go through the data in the following slides. In this slide, finally, I just want to share with you that in Mexico, we have the Mexican Institute for Competitiveness, and in 2020, Tamaulipas ranked number 2. We also ranked number 2 in Best Business Environment. That was a state done early this year by Deloitte and Touche. Next, please. I am very proud to say that Tamaulipas is the logistic platform for North America. We have the knowledge, the connectivity, and the infrastructure that makes this statement possible. We are currently ranked number 5 exporter in Mexico, but even more important, we occupy first place in commercial flow, both in highway and railway, with 40% and 55% of the national total, respectively, as well as third place in cargo movement in our seaports in Tampico and Altamira on the south part of Tamaulipas. Tamaulipas currently ranks, as you can see in the slide, in first place in the chemical industry, mainly in Altamira, where TransCanada is based. We are also second place in Mexico in machinery and equipment, which, as you all know, are capital goods, and that's a very good statistic. We are currently ranked 4th in manufacturing of computer and electrical equipment, as well as accessories and components, mainly in the northern part of our state, in cities like Nuevo Laredo, Reynosa, and Matamoros. Next slide, please. Regarding our foreign direct investment, in this term of Governor Francisco Garcia Cabeza de Vaca, in the last 4 years, we've been able to attract close to 6 million $6 billion US dollars. And as you can see, in different sectors, in agribusiness, in aerospace, in information technology, especially in electronic. We have a very important automotive cluster. We also have an energy cluster, and we're very strong also in metal and mechanical. As you can see, Canada ranks in the top 5 countries that are investing in Tamaulipas, and we are very thankful for that. Right now, we house about 400 world-class companies. About half are in the automotive sector. If I have to state one company from Canada, it would be Linamar, that is based in Nuevo Laredo. We also have, like I said, an energy cluster. For example, last week, we produced the biggest blade in North America for wind farm, which is 162 meters long, point to point. We also have very big companies that are based in Tamaulipas. For example, LG Electronics, which has its main headquarters in Reynosa, Tamaulipas. And also the biggest plant worldwide for Black & Decker is based in Reynosa as well. So Tamaulipas is competitiveness, connectivity, and innovation. And we thank you for the time and the opportunity for this presentation. Thank you to CCA Alberta. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos, for the presentation. And we see different business opportunities with Alberta. I mentioned here some of them, agribusiness, chemical. And as some of the minister mentioned, what we want to present is a snapshot of the business opportunities that you can find in the different states that integrate this. You can visit our website that is Invest in MX. You will have a profile for all the states on all different regions. And we would like to thank you. And we are open to any questions that you may have. Then Miguel, I leave you the microphone, and then any questions that the audience may have for the ministers or for the state, we are open to listen to that.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much to everyone that presented your states and very significant opportunities with each state as with Mexico as a country. And well, I'm going to ask Benigno and Karen that they are going to help me to start the conversation. But probably I'm going to ask the first question. This question was prepared and sent by Carlos Solórzano, board member of the CCA. And I think Ernesto probably can help me to answer this because he mentioned about these energy agencies, state energy agencies. And the question is from Carlos: in the last several months, various states have enacted energy legislations creating state energy agencies. However, only a few, like Puebla or Querétaro, have given sufficient authority and assets, resources to the agencies to allowing them to develop energy projects like power or renewable in partnership with the private sector. How is the state legislation regarding energy, and where do you see the major opportunities for Canadian companies in this area? Ernesto.
Is that for me or for Carlos? Miguel?
I think for you, Ernesto, I think you can probably.
Okay, thanks for the question. Well, let me start in general, then I will go to specific. In general, we have formed a group within this agency, this Invest in Mexico Facilitation Board. We have a group focused on energy. That group is led by Tamaulipas, by the representative of Tamaulipas, which is Maria Antonieta Gomez. She has done a great job leading this group. And we have came out with specific proposals to the main actors at the national level, especially recently, that there have been some initiatives that, from our perspective, are not as productive as they should be in terms of energy. But that's the group from this Invest in Mexico Facilitation Board. We have a group focused on energy. That is also facilitating each state to share best practices and then to become much more, how could I say that, prepared to implement energy strategies at state level of their own. Talking about the legislation, the energy agencies, one example is again, Tamaulipas law for the transition of the energy sector. We also have in Jalisco an energy agency, and we are working on a state energy law. How can Canadian companies work with that? Well, at this point in Jalisco, the state energy agency can provide both information about specific opportunities, can help with the permits that are still from the federal government, and the state energy agency is in the process of becoming a qualified supplier of energy that will be able to buy from the generators and then to sell initially to the entities that are part of the state government, which have a significant consumption, about 20%, because of the electric train and the water pumping treatment plants, etc., are mostly managed by state or intermunicipal entities. The state energy agency wants to target that as its first market, but it will not be generating energy. It will buy energy from the producer and then selling them to the consumers. That's a way to enter the electrical market. So we will, of course, prioritize clean energy sources like photovoltaic, eolic, and other clean energy sources. And that's another way that we can partner with Canadian companies if they're in the generation area. So we of course want to have this new legislation, state legislation, ready this year. But meanwhile, we can still work with the state energy agency in that regards. The process to have it becoming a certified, a qualified supplier of energy, I think that we will finish that within 2-3 months. That is, we're taking a shortcut. I can explain that later, but in order to expedite the permits that are also federal permits. So that's how we can work on that. And these best practices, such as Tamaulipas and some of Jalisco and some other states' best practices, are being shared in this energy group among these 10 states. And I am sure that you will see similar initiatives in other states. So that's what I can tell you about the energy sector, the energy initiatives that we have in Jalisco and that are being shared with other states. As Tamaulipas mentioned, Chihuahua has interesting initiatives, Durango has interesting initiatives. So everyone has interesting initiatives and very talented group of people in charge of their energy agencies or energy departments within the governments. I don't know if I answered your question or you would like more detail on something.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ernesto. I don't know if Benigno, Karen, you want to start?
Yes, Miguel, thank you very much. Good morning still, everybody. And thank you very much for your great presentations. And I just want to introduce myself. I'm a proud Mexican Canadian living here in Canada for almost 21 years and proud to hear about Invest in Mexico, to be honest with you. And the way we can connect with the CCA and probably with the government of Alberta, where I had the privilege to be working with them for almost the 16 years of my career here in Canada. So I'm the director of the trade division within the Ministry of Jobs, Economy and Innovation. And our role is exactly what you guys are doing, is promoting investment and trade from Alberta to the world, and investment from the different jurisdictions to Alberta. So the other information that is important for you to keep in mind, the government of Alberta, the Alberta in general, we have an MOU, an agreement of understanding with the states of Jalisco and Nuevo León. So it is a relation that has lasted for many, many years. We have an office in Mexico City and a satellite office in Guadalajara. So the way we view this, this interaction, obviously, with the CCA and with the government of Alberta, why not, is kind of the mutual agreement, right? It's a win-win situation. I just want to refer to the comment Lorenzo Aguilar indicated is collaboration, right? Collaboration is the name of the game, right? So I love that phrase, and that's what we want to do with the CCA, government of Alberta, and try to develop this win-win situation. So the question that comes to us here is the first one that, based on what I'm saying, is: has Invest in Mexico considered to support Mexican investment outside of Mexico? Probably Alberta would be a destination. That's the first question that we have.
I don't know who would like to answer that question.
I can talk a little bit about that, but I have used the microphone too much. Maybe someone else wants to say, well, I can say initially that the initial mission, Benigno, of this agency is to attract foreign investment into Mexico. The second aspects of this, of course, are trade, foreign trade, and within that also investment from Mexican companies in other areas. But that will be a second stage that, of course, will be part of the scope of this agency. The very first initial step is the attraction of foreign direct investment, but of course this needs to be a win-win and collaboration, as you mentioned, that Lorenzo mentioned. Then if the opportunity presents, even in the first phase, we will also do that. So if you have any specific case or any specific opportunity, we will of course like to learn about it. Someone else would like to say something?
Thank you, Ernesto.
Carlos, Walter, Mauricio, Gustavo.
Sergio.
Walter, go ahead.
Well, just as Ernesto says, we're open to keep a communication, a straight communication. The state of Colima is more than welcome you to come and search for the different topics that are interest for the investments on for the Canadians here in Mexico, and in particular here in Colima. So more than happy to get a call or email from you guys.
Thank you, Walter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Karen, you want to share a question?
Yeah, sure. My name is Karen Pasado, and as Miguel mentioned, I am a member of the board of directors with the CCA. And I also am a consultant with a group here in Calgary called Rainmaker Global Business Development. And we help connect Canadian companies to global expansion opportunities worldwide. My particular focus is Latin America and Mexico in particular. So I'm particularly honored to be in your presence today. And I thank all of the speakers for their contributions and their comments about working together as a joint force. And please consider the CCA a part of your team. So I have a couple of questions. We have some prepared questions, but I see there are some that are coming directly from the audience. So I'd like to address those first. The first one comes from Gary Albee. Can someone comment on the current state of Pemex? And what changes do you see coming in the next 6 to 12 months?
Carlos, do you want to comment on that as energy expert?
Sure. Hi, Karen. Thank you for this opportunity. And as Ernesto has mentioned, we have a commission that we're doing with these 10 states to keep track of the different developments that have been going on basically in the federal government. As you well know, and everybody, the government has said that it's going to comply with the energy reform that was approved back in 2013. And we believe that they're going to do so, but we have to keep track of the situation. And we see that more investment can come our way in the energy sector, and we'll make sure that we keep in touch with you guys.
Thank you. Benigno, you have the next question.
Okay. Yes, we have another question about what about the other states, the Mexican states? Are there any consortiums like Invest in Mexico? Will you consider including any other states? And probably you mentioned about the private sector as well. But the question is more towards asking other states why they are not there or what they need to be part of this group.
I will say that membership is open. Membership is open. If someone else wants to comment, please go ahead.
Gustavo want to comment.
So since day one, we opened the Invest in Mexico platform to every state in Mexico. Whoever wants to participate with us is open to participate in this platform. We have been very open about that. I think as more states they add to our platform, it will be the best. From now on, we are the 10 states that we are together. If in the future, even the federal government, if they want to participate, we did invite them to be at their embassies and consulate offices to work with us. We are very open on doing this, and I think all the ministers and the governors have said this in the open, that this platform will be for all of the country and whatever private association that wants to use it.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. And Karen, back to you, or Miguel?
I can take this one. This one comes from Hector Romero with SMPS Legal, who are a firm that helps promote business between Canada, Mexico, and the US and Latin America. He wanted to first congratulate all of you for the very important efforts to promote Mexico, attracting FDI, and promoting trade with Canada. His question is, how will the outcome of the upcoming elections in Mexico affect efforts of Invest Mexico and of the Invest in Mexico Facilitation Board?
If I may, Sergio?
Yes, go ahead, Carlos.
As Ernesto Sanchez said, Karen, a little bit, this is not a political, that's why we're making it an investment board. ACE means that it's of the private sector mainly. And in our bylaws, we are including private sector entities such as entrepreneur organizations like Canacintra and Coparmex and the commerce like Canaco. So it's in process. We do have elections like you know in 15 states in June the 6th, where we are gonna change in 15 states. We're gonna change state governments, and there are a lot of municipalities that have elections as well. But it's not gonna affect Invest in Mexico because we have done all the legal framework to basically avoid that happening. So if we do have a collaboration with TCA, you can be sure that we're going to continue having it for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen and Benigno. Probably I can jump with another question that came from in advance. One of the most relevant conditions to attract foreign companies to a state is the rule of law. which is not only a solid legal framework, but also independent and fair judicial system, political, social stability, and security. We know that all states in Mexico have a very solid legal framework. Unfortunately, we also know that many states in Mexico are struggling with political stability, security, and probably corruption. How do you see that these elements are providing more security for Alberta companies, or for Canadian companies, basically, to do business in Mexico or in a particular state? I don't know who wants to answer that.
Who would like to answer that?
I'd like to start with some comments, and then maybe sorry about taking the microphone as the president of the association. I'd like to answer that because it's a difficult question, but I will provide a straight answer. You can see the amounts of foreign direct investment that has been flowing into these 10 states, and we just presented that. So there is a confidence from foreign companies in these states. And this is related to the, as you mentioned, to the state of law, to the application of law in these states. We would like to have these present in every state. Every state has different issues, but I believe that when the industry works together with the local governments, you can gain a lot, and the demonstration is what is happening in these states. Now, of course, there are some implications of the political changes in this, and but as Carlos mentioned, we are trying to overcome this in this agency by including members of the private sector. What I will say is that you should not see every region in Mexico as with the same characteristics, and we hope that this type of approach to be business friendly and believe in an open market prevails in most of the states where you have business now or you want to have business. Again, we're open to any other state that wants to be a member of this board. We recognize that there are some issues, but what you have seen from us in the recent presentation that we did some minutes ago, I think that is the best evidence that in these 10 states you can trust. So that's what I will answer. And I don't know if someone else wants to add something to that.
Mauricio, you would like to add something?
Yes. Well, like any country, we have weaknesses and also we have strengths. As you said, we have weaknesses maybe on security, and we have a new government, a new national government that is not giving us the expectations that we want, but also Mexico have great strengths. We have an excellent geography. We're close, very close to the strongest economy in the world. And now with the situation with China and the US, Mexico, I think, is getting stronger on that position. And besides, we have a population of 127 million people. The media on age is only 26 years of age for the Mexican citizen. So we have very competitive areas also. So if you want to see the weaknesses, we have it, but also we encourage the investor to see the strengths that we have within the Mexican country. And also, as in business, we have a saying, the biggest the challenge or the risk, the biggest the profit. So right now, I think it's the right time to invest in Mexico, and especially for the Canadian companies. So I will try to oversee the weaknesses, and I will try to focus on the strengths that Mexico is offering to the world. And of course, it would be better if we offer those strengths to the Canadians instead of the Chinese or different nations. That's all. Thank you.
Excellent. Gustavo, you want to?
Thank you. So just to add what my fellow ministers were talking about, something that we have in common, the 10 states, is that we are very pro-business governments. And we have three areas that we really work on, which is labor stability, security, and respect of rule of law. So that should send the message that we are ready to attract investments in our states, and we will work together with every company, every association who wants to invest in our states, that they'll have this support from this state government and from this alliance of 10 states.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Karen, you want to continue with the next question, please?
Yeah, thank you, Miguel. I actually have a question here that's from Clark Gruey, who President and CEO of Rainmaker, the organization that I am consulting with. And it has to do with the agri-tech sector. And it kind of actually, it sort of leads into a question that I had here that it's a pre-prepared question. Has to do not just with agri-tech, because we do have, Alberta has quite a developed and developing sector around agri-tech, which involves everything from precision farming to all sorts of advances in livestock and crop precision, agricultural drones, etc. Do you see joint opportunities in these areas? And if so, where?
Hi, Sergio, if I may, I can answer some of that.
Yes, Walter, go ahead.
As you know, Mexico has a diversity of different climate, which generates powerful production on agriculture from the variety of all the states that are participating here. Just to mention Colima, Jalisco, Guanajuato, and Michoacán, we produce most of the 40% or more than most of the vegetables and fruits in the whole Mexico area. For the Colima state, we also have a very large variety of fresh products. We have 15 products on the top 10 production national-wise. And just like to put on some issue, like on papaya, the exports to the US, from each 10 papayas, five of them are for the state of Colima. Also, we are growing a lot banana on organic banana. We're the most efficiently production of banana, or organic banana, and so on. I think together we can easily provide a combination or a partnership with the agriculture or larger distribution in Canada, or producers and distributors also.
Fabian.
Something that I would like to ask to add as well is that many of the states in the association right now are major agricultural exporters, but not only that, many of the states have also integrated on a more technological and innovative kind of way. In Chihuahua, we manufacture several drones for agricultural operations, for surveillance and fertilization. And we have a couple of companies which, besides being, for example, we are the #1 producer of apples in the continent, but we also have some companies developing new generation biotechnologically driven fertilizers and pesticides free of chemicals. And these are not per se agricultural experts, but they add value to the agri-tech value chain and are able to further position and leverage of the experience. And I know this is the case for many other states in the case, which are jumping from the basic agricultural supply chain to value-added propositions. We manufacture, I know that several components that end up in the John Deere machinery manufacturing operations. I know, for example, that here in Chihuahua, we manufacture a lot of the components that end up in the John Deere plant in Monterrey. and then go then get shipped worldwide, and particularly to North America. So I'd say that agribusiness is way beyond the commodity production. Definitely, some of the states in here today are taking advantage of those opportunities right away.
Excellent. Thank you very much for the answers. And Benigno, you want to jump in the next one?
Yes, thank you, Miguel. I know that you don't want to get into politics, but Carlos Tapia is asking, what is the opinion of each of the states about the lack of foreign investment in Mexico because of the policies taken by AMLO? How to overcome these policies? Sorry to get into politics, but it's an obligated question here.
That's okay. Who wants to answer? Guanajuato. Okay.
Yeah, Benigno, I guess one, as my boss pointed out, and as Ernesto Sanchez also mentioned, and I guess the rest of the heads of the economic development offices, we are trying to focus on the things we can do, the things we can achieve and accomplish. And I guess the creation of Invest in Mexico Facilitation Board is one of the key initiatives that we are pushing, that we are pursuing, in order to actually produce an effect of the Mexican brand being recognized overseas. So we know that the federal government made the huge mistake of canceling ProMexico. We got together, we were able to talk among ourselves, and there were 10 very brave states in Mexico that decided that in spite of what we were seeing that was being done by the federal government, we wanted the Mexican brand to be recognized with pride in the world. So that's why we decided to come up and create this agency to promote the best advantages, the best that each of these 10 states has to offer. And I guess we did it so that the Mexican brand and the Mexican offer could still be recognized overseas, right? And this is the first year of this alliance, of this initiative, but we plan on improving it. We have a webpage. We are having conversations with the Canadian Council today, and we're meeting with the Brazilian ambassador on Thursday. And we plan to expand the footprint of Mexico in the world throughout this agency. And there is a huge area of opportunity that we need to cover. And but this is the first step of many things that we are planning. And I know that there have been some severe changes in the electricity law and in the labor law, but we are taking them as they come. And I think that if 10 states present a solid proposal, the state government will have the obligation to hear us out.
Excellent, thank you.
Great answers, thank you.
I have another question here from the audience, and it's from Sandra Candy from Alberta Innovates. A few speakers talk about large multinational organizations with operations in their states. Is there a strategy or mechanism for small and medium-sized companies to work with those large organizations? I don't know who wants to comment that have some experience working with a small and medium-sized companies working.
I'd like to ask Sergio to comment about the initiative of supply chain development and connection of the main tractor companies with the small companies and this initiative, Sergio, please.
Yes, as I mentioned at the beginning, we have created some working groups. Then those working groups, they have, one of them is related with supply chain. Then many of the small and medium-sized companies, we try to link with the big, let's say, buyers that we have. Right now, we are doing this through the 10 different states, trying to see how we can cooperate, how the small and medium-sized companies, they can jump into the boat of these big, larger companies, but we are open for any, let's say, possibility that we may have for Canadian companies. I think Alejandro Hernandez mentioned that the supply chain is changing, that there are so big opportunities for new small and medium-sized companies to be in the automotive industry here, especially to try to achieve the rules of origin that the USMCA is demanding now. Then I think if you ask every single state that is presented here, through this strategy of supply chain, we are working to try to take care of the small and medium-sized companies and how they can participate in this idea or this program that we have, that is especially to integrate the supply chain of all the different states that we are representing here. But yes, we can do that. And of course, also you mentioned something that could be related. All the states also, they have programs for startups. I think one of our focus that we are having now is how to boost the startups. Then if you go to Nuevo León, you go to Guanajuato, you go to Durango, to any single state, we have programs to try to, let's say, make partnership with another startups in the world, and we will be very happy to work with Alberta Innovates, because I know that organization, and any proposal that they may have to the group of the 10 states here, we will be very happy to listen to it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Sergio. And Karen, you want to jump in the next one?
I think Lorenzo has his hand up. Lorenzo.
Oh, Lorenzo,
Yes.
go ahead, please.
Yes, I just wanted to add, as an example, in Nuevo León, we have a program called Supply Hub. And when a large manufacturing company arrives, we immediately go hand in hand with them to develop local supply. And as an example, 5 years ago, Kia Motors started their assembly plant in Nuevo León. In the beginning, they were thinking on bringing a little bit over 30 of their suppliers from overseas. At the end, only 13 of those tier ones came. The rest was locally supplied by medium and small-sized companies here in the area. Yes, we have a program that takes care of that and promotes the local supply to big companies.
Excellent. Thank you, Lorenzo. Karen?
To add a little bit something, we in Durango also have a platform that is called Durango Competitivo. And every business or manufacturer here in the state can register in that platform, and they can show what process they have, what do they sell between sales and process. They can show their company. So any other company from outside Durango can investigate and see if they have a process that they might need. We also have something like that.
Thank you. Karen?
Okay, I have a slightly uncomfortable question, but I'm assuming there are no sacred cows here, so I'm going to go ahead and ask it. It comes from a member of our board of directors, and it speaks to establishing, I guess, a comfort level on the part of outside investment towards individual states in Mexico. And this one says, recently we witnessed the state of Baja California, governed by Morena, attempting an expropriation of a country club. This sends a terrible signal to foreign investment. What is the legislature of your individual states doing to eliminate discretionary powers of a governor to prevent these types of actions?
Who would like to answer that?
Okay, well, I can answer
Walter.
some of that. Well, here in Colima, in the state of Colima, we are particular very concerned, or we are focused on the legitimacy of the business who wants to invest here in Colima. That's why we have worked a lot together with the society to have the best regulations in Mexico to establish a new company within the state of Colima. And we were working together also with the municipalities. the state of Colima, it's the only one in Mexico which we have made the license to build a new construction less than 1,500 meters. It's exactly the same request or regulations that the 10 municipalities of the states are required to use. And also, if you want to open a new business here in the state of Colima, the 10 municipalities has also made it equal. We have made it equal with them, all the regulations that needed for a new business to get the operational license here for the state of Colima. And that's sort of regulations and politicals that we are very not concerned, but we have to put all the efforts to provide that confidence that the foreign investments need to have when they come to a new land on investments.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Benigno, you want to jump?
Yes, we have a question from Franklin Asprilla, which is a member of CCA as well. And the question is, what impact has had the renegotiation of commercial agreements amongst United States, Canada, and Mexico in your states? And what new opportunities have shown up or emerged?
Who would like to answer that one?
For anyone that hasn't speak yet, probably this is a good opportunity to.
Gustavo.
So for us in Durango, it has been very positive. Obviously, there was a lot of changes that needed to be made in this last trade agreement. I think it was over 25 years old, so there was a lot of industries or economic sectors that needed to enter into this new agreement. There's a lot of innovation, a lot of pushing Industry 4.0. So for us, it was very positive. I think this will bring much more businesses to the three countries, much more security in the investments. Just going back to the last question, all of the states have our state constitutions, and the 10 states are obviously very pro-business. So we do protect our investments via our state constitution. So we, in that sense, I think everything comes together, and with this new trade agreement, there's also security that goes into investments. If another minister would like to add another part.
Yes. So again, on the expropriation question, I was just calling our legal counsel here, because that's something so, I mean, unheard of before that state would like to do that. That we are really not sure of legislation, but to take your point, if there is a concern here, we may need to make sure that local legislations at state level provide some very strong guarantees, very strong protection to the companies in order to avoid this type of situations. So I'll take that with me and talk to the governor and talk to the state Congress. If there is something like that, we should provide a very strong defense for the private companies. And in terms of the USMCA, of course, it has brought great opportunities. Not only that, but the rhetoric, and not now, besides rhetoric, the actions of this problem between China and the USA, the distancing of these two economies, and the regionalization of the supply chains have brought great opportunities for us. That's
excellent. Thank you, Ernesto. And all, we are very close to end the program. We are just 3 minutes away from 11, and there is a question from Crystal as well, but this is very related what Secretario Usabiaga mentioned, how we can promote more Canada and Mexico relation and to grow the competitiveness of this North American region, right? To be more competitive. I think that's very, very important. And the question of Crystal is very related. Probably we can close with that question. Is, from your perspective, what is the greatest challenge in collaborating with Canadian companies? And what I'm really asking is how Canadian companies, leaders can help facilitate a stronger collaboration. We have seen for many years that the relation US-Mexico is very strong, and we see a very, very, probably geographically and because of culture, but we have seen that we need to pour more Canada in Mexico and more Mexico in Canada. But what is your view on that? What is the main challenge for Canadian companies to go to Mexico, and how we can motivate them to be more proactive?
Mauricio.
That's an excellent question. The most important thing in business is trust, and trust is built in knowledge. So the best thing is we open the doors for these 10 states, for all Canadians to come into Mexico, and we can show you what we can offer for business opportunities for the Canadians. And the last question about the small companies. Within the state of Guanajuato and also within these 10 states, we know that there are small companies, but we believe there is no such a thing as a small business people or business person. Everyone has a huge potential, and if you want to partner with some Mexican people, we can bring you closer to people within the Mexican country who want to invest or have a joint venture, maybe with some Canadian companies. And if you have a joint venture, that can reduce the risk of coming and do business within Mexico. So I see a huge potential. We're open to show you what we can offer, and it will be great to increase the trust to know more about the Mexican market and the Mexican people.
Excellent, Secretario. Thank you very much. And well, with that, it's 11 o'clock, and I really want to thank all of you for being here with us. It's well, we are very excited about this opportunity to share this initiative of Invest in Mexico. As a Canadian Council for the Americas, we are here to support any project, any initiative, and to support, of course, Canadian companies that are interested in the Mexican market and the Latin American market. And thank you very much to all of you, Sergio, for facilitating this, and all of you for your presence. And thank you. Have a great day. And just to remind all our audience that next week we have a presentation. It's an economic outlook on Latin America presented by Jorge Milanese of Sproul. And we hope to see you in these weekly chats every Tuesday. Gracias a todos. Muy buenos días y les agradecemos mucho su presencia el día de hoy.
Gracias.
Un placer.
Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Bye for your time. Thank you.
Everybody.